Right. So, welcome to this meditation. I am just going to presence myself here for a moment. I've had a bit of a crazy day, and I've already made offerings to the fairy people. And so instead of doing a prayer myself, I'm just going to smudge the space and then read a prayer from one of my teachers. So smudge the space for us. And then not sure if the peepers are heard right now, but I thought instead of using my drum or my rattle, I'd let the peeper sound come in through the windows. Honoring freedom. Thank you for this. This is Pixie Lighthorse. Thank you for this beautiful day of growth, of separation and individuation. Thank you for showing us how to love and also be free. Thank you for the water, the grass, the simple things we need to live and tend to take for granted. Thank you for wide, open range thinking and for the ability to create our own realities with your help. Thank you for the courage to step off the well-traveled thoroughfare to seek our own fortunes of the spirit. Bless our paths as we leave a season of our lives behind and declare new footsteps once again. As you've blessed us so many times before now, bless the wheel that keeps us turning and learning. Guide us to autonomy as we learn to make spirit stuff our first priority and closest matter to our hearts. Let us allow this and others honoring their way, knowing that we each have our own sweet language with you. Guide us to true freedom by showing us our part in everything, everything beautiful and of creation, as well as that which is unseemly and destructive. Both are of you. Allow us to sit on the edge of the cliff for as long as we need to before we can move forward. Keep us from hurrying the process, knowing that it is our readiness to leap. Knowing that it is in our readiness to leap that we gain our sovereignty. Remind us that it is our ownership of the role we've played that will release us and forgiveness of ourselves that sets us free. Humble us by removing our disclaimers, our qualifiers, and our blame of others for putting us in this place. Find us sitting on the mountain waiting for the visions to come from you, disrobed of our arrogance, stripped of our expectations, devoid of impatience. Surround us with your magical animals, vegetables, and minerals, which support our earth walk toward full flexibility. Show us that it isn't others who hold us back, only ourselves and our very good reasons. Show us another way. Hold us tenderly when we suffer, and amplify our radiance when we shine. Heal us with right medicine, which opens us all the way up in full support of our sensitive natures. Teach us to nurture ourselves deeply and leave tracks for others on path to find us and their freedom too. Pixie Lighthorse on freedom, prayers of honoring. So I am going completely off the cuff and totally spontaneous. I normally like to meditate kind of on the meditation and think about what I'm going to say beforehand. But today I am experiencing some pretty intense cramps. And so I have had to clean my rental and I clean another person's house. And that all happened yesterday and today. And both of our lawnmowers broke. And so I'm just showing up and going to do the best I can. And since I did a meditation on the heart and on the air element already, I thought that I would just kind of do something different and do a meditation into the fairy kingdom. So the fourth chakra, just as a little review, Anahata, um, means translate as unstuck. And so to become unstuck, we can actually tap on our hearts a little bit. The more we can think about that organ right here, and really be aware of it, is the very first organ that was created in our mother's womb. And I think it takes 18 days before the heart to develop. And it has been beating inside of our bodies from the very beginning, that very first heartbeat, until our very last heartbeat. And so the more that we can hold it in appreciation and awareness, and realize that the heart is directly related to the lungs, and the doorway into the heart is through our breathing. So when we can inhale and exhale, filling our lungs with air and exhaling, that intention to release and let go and invite in can open our heart. So I invite you to take a few breaths. You can even, if you want to. So everything that comes from our heart is connected to our arms, right? Everything that we do, all the cooking, gardening, dancing, everything comes from here into our arms, through our hands. And so the more that we can come out of love, the more in tune we will be with our own metaphorical drumbeat, heartbeat. So I guess I'm just gonna talk a little bit about what I know about fairies. I host a annual fairy workshop. I'm also drinking wine for this meditation. I don't generally do that, and that's why I'm not using tobacco to pray with right now. I'm just, like I said, I have really bad cramps. So anyway, so fairies, so I host an annual fairy workshop, and I have been doing that for several years here. And a few times a year, we put out chocolates and we honor the fairy and the fae people. I leave chocolates out and little treats for them. And every year for at least 4, 5, 6 years, on the summer solstice, when they believe that the like the sort of the connection is the veils are the thinnest, where we can connect to the fairies strongly, which is coming up in probably about a month. Every single year on that day, mushrooms will sprout up all over my yard, and I don't know what, so, and mushroom rings, where if you look in nature and you find a mushroom ring, that's when it is believed that the fairies are around. They also really need to be respected. So, I think fairy and the fae can be associated with putting on a fog of forgetfulness for people and kind of tricking the humans, because look at what we've done to their environment, right? So they're not necessarily 100% trusting of us. So to show our good intentions, we leave gifts for them, and it's smart, it's wise to ask permission to work with these little people. And so I've done that, and when I went down to make my offering, just within like 20 seconds, I saw a snake going down, a little garter snake going down into the earth, into a little hole. And then today I found a gray catbird, and what's the a thrasher, which I didn't know what it was. And I'm pretty good with my birds, but for some reason I had never really noted the thrasher before. It's beautiful with brown speckles on its chest. And unfortunately, they were not alive, but I will honor them. So, going into the fairy lands and journeying into the fairy realm, we stay in the middle, not the upper or the lower world, but the middle world, which is basically our world, but more in tune with energies. So you can allow yourself to start to surrender again into that comfortable, relaxed state of being. Inhaling and exhaling, maybe even just taking a moment to put your hand over your heart and feeling your heart beating. And then you can feel that your body is relaxing very deeply. You can listen to the sounds of the peepers coming through the window. So anahata, the heart, has to do with the air element, and the air element has to do with our breath. So you can inhale and exhale, thinking about that element of air and inviting in winds of change. These winds of change have a specific power of knowing, where they know everything that's good in your heart. They know your kindness. These air beings, spirits, know your intelligence and your love. And so they keep everything that's good, but they have an intelligence to allow for the things that are not serving you to exhale and leave your body. So, thinking about maybe even like a tornado or a really strong, tumultuous storm where the winds are blowing, and all of Mother Nature is moving along with the wind, and it's getting our energy kind of moving around so much that the force is so strong that it can kind of whirl around you and hold on to the foundation and things that are serving you in a good, positive way. And then allow the winds to take away those old thoughts, the old paradigms of um, needing to just get things done above all else. And then we're going to start to relax further into the meditation. And then you can see yourself in a beautiful wooded glen. Maybe imagine a tree that you've seen that was so striking in its beauty: the willow, the oak, the cherry. So many beautiful trees. And as the heart and the lungs are connected, so are we as humans to the trees. Our exhalation feeding them, and their exhalation inhaling into our being. Just like the circulatory system and the respiratory system work in tandem together. And in that tree, in the very base of the tree, the roots are kind of growing over the earth. There's a small hole. You can imagine yourself sort of shrinking down to the size of that hole. But before you are allowed to enter one more time, We need to begin to start practicing asking permission. And it only takes, may I enter? And we have to learn how to listen. So I'm hearing a yes for all of us. So we can walk through into the tree, through the roots, the hole, and then kind of climb inside of the tree, up, 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 and then poke our little heads out, kind of like an owl, and then just sit upon one of the tree's limbs. And from there, we're going to perch ourselves, still very small, becoming one with the tree, inhaling and exhaling its beauty. Inhaling and exhaling, feeling how the tree has roots that go deep down into Mother Earth, and that its spirit, the deeper the roots go, the higher its spirit can sing, the branches reaching towards Father Sky. And so sitting upon this branch, you can start to hear different birds singing. Maybe a little chipmunk passes by. We become the observer. Maybe that wind is blowing and leaves are kind of falling all around us in their golden beauty. And then as we sit in silence and we observe, we realize that our senses are becoming more astute. So not only are the colors becoming more clear around us, the sounds are deepening, the smell of the forest, even the taste. And our senses are vibing and pulsing through our veins in a way that we feel more alive, more connected to Mother Nature than we have in a really long time, since we were children, maybe. And allowing ourselves to surrender to that and inviting the magic back into our lives. We kind of begin to look around the woods, and then is it possible that a little human, looks like a little human being, just flew by in a flash? We look again, quicker than a hummingbird, quieter. There it goes again, that little flash of light. And before we know it, you can start to hear the pitter patter of fluttering wings all around us. And the deeper we surrender into the magic, the more open our eyes become. And in the same wood and on the same branch where we've been sitting and observing, all of a sudden our eyes become open and aware to these magical creatures, the Fae, flying all around. And so we say thank you to them. Thank you for showing up for us. Thank you for sharing your beauty with us. Thank you for all the magic. Thank you for caretaking. You know, maybe this tree is one in your very backyard. Maybe this is a relationship that you can nurture again and feed. And the fairies stop, and they've been bustling around so busy that they didn't even notice that you're there. But now that you've said thank you, it's drawn their attention to you. And they are just as curious as we are. And so they flutter around and start to land all around you. And we can ask them, how do we stay attuned to Mother Nature, you protectors? And honestly, they're a little bit disappointed and they have to kind of reprimand us a little bit and let us know that they've had to go under hiding for many, many years because the destruction of man is so hurtful to them. The destruction, and it's not that they don't recognize that humans have different needs and, like using trees for shelter and raising animals to eat in gardens. They don't have a problem with that necessarily. It's the way that humankind and the two-leggeds just feel like they can take anything that they want. And it's done without appreciation and respect and honoring and gratitude. And that's the thing that's harming Mother Earth. And so that's their simple message. Just start with coming from a place of gratitude. Even if you have to, fake it till you make it. If you can just put thank you in front of every action. And in our journey, the fairies fluttering all around, dancing in the wind, they want to give you a gift of healing. And so they go and they find the most beautiful flower that you've ever seen and they offer that to you. And they don't really speak, it's like they commune with a certain knowing. And this flower is so big that it takes 3 or 4 of these beautiful little fairies to kind of pick it and bring it up to your branch to present to you. And they hand you the flower and they bow in honor of your divine feminine being. And they recognize you as a queen. And they know that you are nature yourself. And they see that and they recognize it and they honor it. And these same fairies, they go and they find a really cool looking nut. And they have to ask some more fairies to help them, and they bring to you this nut. And they present it to you very serious and in complete earnestness. They hand you this nut and they honor the divine masculine in you. They honor you as a king. And they recognize both the feminine and the masculine in you. And they perform a ceremony for these two to marry in your heart so that you can come forward completely balanced in both your intuition, your intellect, and your giving heart. And the fairies start to flutter all around you, so excited that you're ceremoniously honoring both the masculine and the feminine inside of you. And they are dancing and celebrating in joy. And then they realize that something's missing. Something inside of you is very wounded. And so they can't quite, because they're so sensitive and so empathetic and so loving, that they can't celebrate until they know that you are healed. And so they kind of disappear again quickly, and they leave you on that branch to just think and to be and to listen and experience. And they kind of flutter off And you're allowed to ask yourself, what is it that's missing? What part of myself did I lose? When did I lose it? How far back do I have to go? All the way back into my toddler years, maybe even being a baby. How was I treated in a way that I lost? It was so jarring that I actually lost a part of myself. Maybe you can name it. And so the fairies go and they gather all of their acorn shells and their um, some more flowers, and they make a little potion, and they bring this little tiny acorns filled with holy sacred water from a well that they've been guarding and singing to and protecting and honoring for millennia. And they pour the water onto a flower and invite you to eat it. And as you ingest this medicine, you can feel it kind of warming down through your throat, warming up your heart, opening up your heart. And then it kind of tingles down into your blood circulatory system and starts to spread out from your heart, out through your arms, down the spine, through the organs and the legs, down through your feet. And whatever that missing part of yourself is, it's that you are whole again. That place that maybe made you funny, maybe it made you tough, maybe you know it created some part of your defense mechanism that might be a part of you that you really love, and that's okay. That part is still there too. It's just it's the missing piece of your wholeness that has been gifted to you in return for your gratitude to the fairies, gifted back through the love that the fairies see in you, that your true nature is apparent and evident and important and special. And so they want you to have the missing piece to become whole again. So maybe just taking a moment to connect to your heart, knowing that at any time, it doesn't take really a guided meditation. If anything, all one really has to do is to walk outside and sit down outside in nature anywhere. Because when you can tune into the sun, tune into the subtle breezes, listen to the sounds of nature, listen to the bird song, listen to the water flowing, see the beauty of the colors, then that portal of the two worlds opens up. So before we end the meditation, we are so grateful to the fairies to help us, help guide us, help teach us how to live in sisterhood and brotherhood with Mother Nature. And we have to honor them, and also we owe them a great I'm sorry. Each and every one of us. Each and every one of us has lost our knowing of our original instruction. Even the ones that I have gotten to call friends, even myself absolutely guilty, taking just the simple things driving instead of walking, not carpooling, not always recycling 100%, eating without any kind of awareness. Um, and it's okay to do those. We are all human. But what's really bad is when we do know and we are aware and we still make those decisions because we just don't care. What's really bad is the apathy. So, you know, help us magical creatures, and help us Creator God to remember the magic of love for Mother Nature, so that we want to protect her like the fairy. We want to make the right decisions that will enable us to live on this planet for many, many centuries to come. The population just keeps expanding, and these viruses are showing up, and there's still a lot of us here that care, that want to find a way forward. And so, show us, we're asking you to make yourselves visible again to those of us that welcome you and honor you, and I apologize on behalf of myself and all human beings that have ever done anything less than 100% loving to you and your divine environment and your beauty. And so, feeling whole now that you've found both forgiveness and honored your divine feminine and masculine, find a lost part of yourself, you can slowly climb back down the tree. Put your feet back on the earth. Bring your arms up over your head. Feel your feet rooting down into the ground. And like that tree itself, bringing the branches up over your head, allowing them to connect to the sun, the divine, sky, the air. And then you can bring all of that back into your heart. Inhaling and exhaling, whole and healed. Inhaling and exhaling, feeling refreshed and awakened. Inhaling, listening to the breath. And bring the palms to the heart center in prayer. As you exhale, feel that divine air over your fingertips. Namaste.